flight from the mainland was supposed to be routine. When Svalbard Dispatch lost the signal from Station Boreas 7 on the night of December 21st, they assumed it was a standard solar storm or a temporary failure of the main satellite dish. During the polar night, communication failures were common, but after weeks of complete silence, something about it felt deliberate. We landed our transport helicopter on the frozen helipad, 50 yards from the station. The wind screamed at nearly 40 knots, driving sharp snow into our faces like needles. Boreas 7 was completely dark. No warning lights, no generator exhaust, no sign of life. The station stood against the mountain like a dead monument, swallowed by the endless blue-black Arctic sky. My name is Sergeant Vance. Along with 2 other members of the Northern Response Unit, I was sent to locate the station caretaker, Nolan, and recover the research data. As we reached the main airlock, our searchlights revealed something impossible. The steel door had been welded shut from the inside. The welds were thick, black, frozen solid beneath layers of ice. It took us almost 40 minutes to cut through them. When the heavy door finally crashed inward, the silence inside was worse than the storm outside. The air was even colder. Every breath became a cloud of frozen mist drifting through our flashlight beams. The hallways were coated in razor-thin frost. The living quarters were untouched. Food remained on the shelves. Nolan's gloves, boots, and winter gear were neatly stored away. There were no signs of panic. But when we reached the communications room, we found the entrance barricaded with heavy filing cabinets and a massive wooden workbench. I brushed away the frost, opened the cover, and aimed my searchlight at the first page. The handwriting trembled across the paper. November 12th, 2025. This is the first week of my solo shift. The last supply helicopter disappeared 4 days ago, and the sun won't rise again until March. November 28th, 2025. Today, something changed beneath the ice. I was monitoring Hydrophone 4, the deepest sensor in the station. At exactly 3 a.m., every sound stopped. The glacier, miles of ancient ice, became completely silent. I checked every cable and connection. Everything was working perfectly. Then, I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. 3 sharp metallic knocks echoed through the headphones. Then, exactly 4 seconds of silence. Tap, 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 again. The waveform wasn't natural. It wasn't shifting ice or falling rock. These were clean, deliberate impacts. Something was striking the metal casing, 300 meters beneath the glacier. I listened for nearly 20 minutes, frozen in my chair. Then the tapping stopped. The silence returned, heavier than before, and through the deepest microphone, I heard something that made every hair on my body stand up. A slow, wet, shuddering breath. It lasted nearly 15 seconds. It sounded like enormous lungs filling with air beneath the earth. A deep inhalation, like soaked leather dragging across dry sand. I turned the volume down, but I could still feel the vibration through the desk. The coffee inside my mug began to ripple. December 5th, 2025. I haven't slept more than 2 hours a night since the tapping began. Every morning, exactly at 3 a.m., the glacier falls silent and the breathing returns. Each night it sounds closer. When I wear the headphones, it feels like someone is standing directly behind me, breathing into my ear. I contacted Svalbard Central yesterday. Karen answered the satellite phone. She said the lower mine shafts had been sealed with concrete decades ago and suggested I was suffering from isolation-induced hallucinations. She told me to sleep more and double my vitamin D. But I know what I heard. Today, something else started. A smell. Thick, humid, rotten earth. It didn't belong in the Arctic. It smelled like a swamp in the middle of summer. Following the odor, I found patches of melted frost on the corridor floor. A greasy gray liquid covered the concrete, and when my flashlight touched it, the fluid slowly pulled away from the light. December 15th, 2025. The satellite phone is dead. The antenna is clear, but there is no signal. Every time I lift the receiver, all I hear is a high-pitched mechanical whine. If I listen for more than a few seconds, it makes my head spin. I was heating a can of soup in the kitchen when the old intercom suddenly crackled to life. That system hasn't worked since the mining company abandoned this place in the 80s. The wires were cut years ago, yet the speaker began humming, filling the room with heavy static. Then, I heard Karen's voice. "Nolan, do you copy? This is Svalbard Central. We have an unconfirmed seismic anomaly in your sector. Nolan, do you copy?" I rushed toward the speaker. "Karen, yes, I copy. The phone is dead. The power is failing. I stopped. The voice ignored me completely. It repeated the exact same sentence with the exact same tone, the exact same pauses. Again and again, like a recording trapped inside an endless loop. Then the recording changed. The words slowed down. The pitch dropped lower, becoming wet, guttural, almost inhuman. "Nolan, Nolan, open the floor. It is cold down here." The voice wasn't Karen's anymore. My exact voice. The same dry rasp. The same Midwestern accent. But it never paused to breathe. One long, mechanical exhale, stretching for nearly 30 seconds. I grabbed my iron wrench and smashed the intercom off the wall. It shattered across the floor. The wires were ripped apart, but the broken speaker kept humming. Even in pieces, the static continued, whispering through the metal grill. December 21st, 2025, 11:40 p.m. The power is gone. The main diesel generator, a machine that had run for over 30 years without failure, died instantly. No sputtering, no warning. It was as if something had simply squeezed the fuel line shut. The station is losing 1 degree every 5 minutes. The air inside my room is already -20. The ink in this pen is beginning to freeze. Then, from somewhere deep beneath the station, clang! A massive steel bolt hit the concrete floor. Clang! Another one. I know that sound. Those are the 12 bolts sealing Sector D, the shaft where the hydrophones are suspended. That hatch has been welded shut for more than 40 years. Now, something is opening it. My only light is the weak yellow beam of my brass flashlight. The batteries are freezing. I can barely see beyond the room. Then, I heard them. They were moving through the ventilation shafts. It wasn't footsteps. It sounded like thousands of tiny hollow bones slamming against the metal ducts. Click, 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 like an enormous spider racing through a steel web. Only whatever owned those legs was far too large to fit inside the vents. I ran to the window. Maybe the rescue team had finally arrived. The moon hung high above the frozen valley, casting a pale blue light across the endless snow. Standing on the helipad, roughly 50 yards away, was Marcus. Standing on the helipad, roughly 50 yards away, was Marcus. Marcus was supposed to be on leave back in Norway, but there he was, standing perfectly still in the middle of the storm. He wasn't wearing any clothes. His skin was frozen solid, dark blue, almost transparent. Tiny crystals of frost covered every inch of his body, glittering beneath the moonlight. His head leaned so far to one side that his ear rested against his shoulder. His neck was broken. I could actually see the bone pressing through the frozen skin. He never blinked. He never moved. He simply stared directly at my window. Then his chest split open. A perfectly straight tear ripped downward from his throat to his waist. There were no ribs, no lungs, no heart, nothing. Inside his body, dozens of pale, hairless human arms reached outward. Their fingers twitched in perfect rhythm with the clicking sounds inside my ventilation shafts. Marcus never opened his mouth, but the broken intercom speaker lying beside me came back to life, and then my own voice began to whisper. Marcus never opened his mouth, but the broken intercom speaker lying beside me came back to life, and then my own voice began to whisper. Why won't you let us in, Nolan? We have excellent survival metrics. We only want to process your resignation. Clang, another bolt. Clang, another bolt. Only 2 bolts were still holding the hatch closed. December 22nd, 2025, 4:12 a.m. The hatch is open. I heard the massive iron lid slam against the concrete floor. The entire station shook. The clicking is no longer below me. It's here, right outside the communications room. Something enormous is pressing against the steel door. I can hear the rivets groaning under the weight, slowly, patiently, as if it knows there is nowhere left to run. Then the voices started. Not one voice, hundreds, maybe thousands. My mother, my father, old friends, people I haven't seen in years. My mother, my father, old friends, People I haven't seen in years. Every one of them speaking at the same time. Nolan, it's time to wake up. The water is warm. You forgot to sign your time card. The wooden barricade began to crack. Then a finger slid through the gaps in that door. It wasn't human. 4 joints, no fingernail, only a sharp, bone-white tip. It slowly scraped across the metal filing cabinet. The sound made my teeth hurt. My fire axe is still in my hands, but they're so cold, I can barely lift it. The smell of wet earth fills the room. Rotting soil, rust, copper. It's so thick now, I can actually taste it. December 23rd, 2025, 11:30 a.m. The door held. I don't know how, but it held. The clicking stopped before dawn. Whatever was outside went back down into the shaft, but it didn't leave alone. It left something outside my door. I can hear it, breathing. No, not breathing. My breathing. Every time I inhale, it inhales. Every time I exhale, it exhales. Perfectly. Same rhythm, same wheeze, same lungs. Then I finally understood. It doesn't want to kill me. It's waiting to become me. Every memory it steals becomes its own. When I remembered fishing with my father on the Kenai River when I was 7, the thing outside whispered every detail before I could. The water was green. You dropped the tackle box. Your father wasn't angry. He smiled. It's taking everything. My memories, my fears, my voice. Piece by piece. If it becomes me, then who is writing this journal? Am I the man holding this pen? Or am I already the thing waiting outside the door? December 24th, 2025, 2 a.m. This is my final entry. I'm sealing the airlock. No one must ever come inside this station. No rescue team, no supply crew, no one. The thing outside has stopped breathing. Now it's writing. Every time my pen touches this paper, I hear another pen scratching on the other side of the wall. Its handwriting is identical to mine. Its thoughts are identical to mine. The barricade is moving. The filing cabinets are sliding away on their own. But I'm not afraid anymore. The room feels warm. The air smells like summer. If you find this journal, don't look for me. I'm already on the helicopter. I'm already home. January 14th, 2026, 4:45 a.m. I closed the journal. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The notebook slipped from my fingers. Miller and Ross stood behind me. Neither of them said a word. A trail of thick gray fluid led away from the desk toward the darkness at the back of the room. Vance, Miller whispered. Look at the pen. The pen wasn't filled with ink. Inside was the same gray liquid we found beneath the station. Then my radio crackled. "Rescue Team Alpha, do you copy? We've lost your telemetry. Report your status." I reached for the transmit button. Before I could answer, the voice changed. Slowly, it became my voice. "Rescue Team Alpha, the heater is working now. We only want to process your resignation." Then, from the darkness outside the communications room, we heard it. Not a voice. Footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. 3 pairs of heavy winter boots. Then, a 4th joined them, perfectly synchronized with our breathing.